A wedding of worlds. An unwelcome guest. I never thought I'd step back into Claudia's world, her wedding a glittering fortress where I, her forgotten ex, was an uninvited shadow. The high-rise towered above, its glass facade blazing under the city's golden hum, floral arches soaring, women in gowns of molten starlight, men in tuxedos sharp as ambition, their laughter slicing through the night. Her invitation, a handwritten whisper, "I hope you'll attend," had arrived like a dare. For words, elegant, heavy. I should have let it burn. But curiosity, that relentless thief, pulled me to a past I'd sworn to bury. Editor's note. The opening is strong, vividly setting the scene and stakes. Consider clarifying why Claudia's invitation feels like a dare, e.g., a hint of her past judgment, to deepen the protagonist's motivation early. Into her empire. The ballroom enveloped me, a cathedral of opulence where chandeliers wept prisms onto polished marble. Waiters glided, champagne flutes catching light like promises, while an orchestra wove melodies soft as dusk. This was Claudia's kingdom, far from the life we'd shared. I lingered in the shadows, unseen, until her gaze snagged mine across the crowd. Her poised smile wavered, a flicker of doubt, regret, or a challenge. She turned away, the perfect bride, but that glance lingered, a silent fracture. Then I saw him. Richard, her new husband, a finance titan whose face graced magazines beside hers. He commanded the room's heart, his arm claiming her waist, basking in their reverence. His eyes met mine, and I braced for dismissal. Instead, he leaned close, his voice a polished blade. "No degree, no name. Why haunt Claudia's past when she's outgrown you?" His smirk was smug, certain I'd buckle. I met his gaze, my pulse steady as a metronome, a smile curling my lips. The audacity. He saw a ghost. He'd soon see the man. Echoes of us. Once, Claudia and I were a single flame. Not these strangers. Her, a CEO wielding power like a crown. Me, the man she'd cast aside. We met as teenagers, worlds apart. Her mind was a map of ambition, each step charted. I lived for music, my piano a voice louder than words. She loved that, once. She'd curl beside me, her breath soft, as I wove songs for her alone. "Your music makes me feel alive," she'd whisper, her smile a rare gift. I'd said, "You don't have to chase their rules. Just live." She'd vowed, "I want the best for us." I believed her, but her love for my chaos soured. "You can't survive on music," she'd snap. Stability was her altar, my defiance a flaw. The night it broke, in our cramped apartment, her face was stone. "This isn't working," she said. I nodded, silent. "No, please." She'd chosen, and I let her go. She soared to power. I vanished into music, jazz dens, street corners, grand halls, my melodies touching millions, my wealth a quiet shadow. I never flaunted it. Until now. Editor's note. The backstory is tightened, but Claudia's shift from love to frustration feels abrupt. Expanding a specific memory, e.g., a moment where her ambition clashed with his art, could deepen her arc and add emotional weight. A spark ignites. "Why'd you come?" Marcus, Claudia's brother, sidled up, his grin sharp. Unlike her, he never judged, sneaking into my gigs to soak up my notes. "Curiosity," I said, smirking. He snorted. "Richard's clueless about you, isn't he?"
Yep.
Marcus chuckled. "You could ruin him, blind as he is." I shrugged. "That's the fun." Richard's voice cut through, deliberate. "This is for people of substance. Why are you here?" He savored his edge, ignoring the guest's unease. I turned, my chuckle a low blade, slicing his certainty. "Curious," I said, "how you think status is just titles or cash." He scoffed. "It is. You're a nobody Claudia should have left uninvited." Marcus muttered. "He doesn't know you, does he?" Richard snapped. "What's that mean?" I sipped my drink, letting him stew, his world teetering. The reckoning. Claudia approached, her gown a whisper of wealth, her poise fraying. You came, she said, soft, surprised. Before I could speak, Richard surged forward, his grip on her possessive. My wife doesn't need relics like you, he sneered. Cut ties. His certainty was blind, laughable. I pulled out my phone, voice calm as ice. Fine. I'll start by closing my $700 million account at your bank. The room froze. Conversations died, glasses stilled. The orchestra's notes hung. Eyes swiveled, shock rippling. Richard's smirk collapsed. What? He choked. Claudia paled, her champagne trembling. You heard me, I said, casual. I'm withdrawing $700 million. Your wife's CEO, she'll manage. Silence choked the air. Marcus whistled, grinning. Damn. Richard's hands twitched, arrogance melting into panic. You're lying, he spat, voice thin. Claudia grabbed my wrist, her fingers cold. You're joking, right? Fear flickered in her eyes, not for me, but for her empire's fragility. I shrugged, pocketing my phone. Why joke? Your husband spoke. I'm obliging. Richard whirled on Claudia, voice cracking. This is a joke, right? Marcus laughed. You don't know him, do you? Richard's dread dawned. I turned to leave, but he grabbed my arm. Wait. I freed myself, stare cold. You made your point, he stammered. No need to. To what? I cut in. Show what happens when you misjudge. I leaned close, voice a murmur. Choose your targets wisely. I walked away, leaving him mute, humbled, his mistake a wound. Eyes followed, the nobody who'd become everything. A shattered facade. Claudia's grip tightened, her facade splintering. You're joking, right? She whispered, pleading. I studied her, the woman who'd built empires, now unmoored. Why would I said, slipping free. Richard shook his head, fists clenched. Absurd, he muttered, turning to Claudia. He's bluffing. She couldn't answer, she knew. She'd left me, certain I'd fade. Now, she faced the man I'd become. Marcus chuckled. Google him, Richard. Whispers erupted, phones glowed, gasps followed. Richard snatched Claudia's phone, his face twisting, shock, dread. I was no nobody, but a pianist whose music moved millions, whose wealth dwarfed his. And I'd never boasted. Did you know? Richard hissed. Claudia was silent, exposed. He grasped for control. No need to be rash. Let's talk. I raised a brow. Rash. He faltered. I turned to Claudia, voice soft, cutting. Funny how life balances, isn't it? She didn't answer, her silence a confession. I headed for the exit. Richard called, desperate. You're not closing it, are you? I smirked, not looking back. I'll think about it. I left, the wedding a tale of folly, its perfection undone. The weight of truth. The night air stung as I descended the grand staircase, each step a release. I hadn't foreseen this reckoning. I'd thought Claudia's invitation was a flex, proof she'd surpass me. But her eyes, raw on the staircase, told another story. A woman who'd misread everything. Footsteps raced behind. Wait. Claudia, her silhouette stark against the ballroom's glow. No longer the CEO, she was just her. The woman who'd slept to my music, who'd left for dreams of steel. We need to talk, she said, voice soft. Nothing's left, I replied. She exhaled, sharp. I was wrong about you. Everything. Her breath trembled, catching in the night's chill. I chuckled, mirthless, eyes on the sky's faint stars, battling the city's haze, her haze, all ambition and glass. Which part? I asked. That I'd never be anything, or that I'd wait for you? She flinched. I didn't know, she whispered. That's the issue, I said. You never ask. Her fingers twisted her gown. I almost called to ask if I'd changed. I cut in. Become what you wanted? I stepped closer, voice firm. You left because I wouldn't chase your ambition. I don't regret my choice. Her breath caught. I just wanted to know if you're happy, she said, bare. I smiled, true. I was happy when I stopped needing you. Her lips parted, silent. She'd never seen it. I'd moved on, whole before her. That was her loss. I turned, final. She'd return, smile for cameras, play the bride. But tonight, alone, she'd lie awake, knowing she'd lost to her own choices. Editor's note: the staircase scene is emotionally potent, but Claudia's regret could be expanded with a specific memory, e.g., a shared moment tied to the piano, to make her vulnerability more impactful and tie back to their past. A silent victory. I slid into the car, the city blurring, gold, white alive. I opened my music app, hit record, and played Claudia's old favorite. Notes spilled, soft, bittersweet, for lessons learned, for victories won in silence. The tension in my chest eased. I closed her contact without a glance. No looking back. Marcus texted, "Where'd you vanish?" Richard's meltdown was gold. I grinned. Typing, show's over. He replied, frantic, begging Claudia for answers. Best night. I pictured it. Richard's dignity in tatters, whispers seeding gossip. I texted, perfect end. My brownstone emerged, elegant, quiet. Marcus called as I unlocked the door. No goodbye. Cold. He leaned against his car, grinning. Didn't need to chase me. I quipped, letting him in. My living room glowed, dark wood, warm light, my grand piano a sentinel. He traced its curve, whistling. You landed on top, quietly. I shed my jacket. Never needed a crowd. He laughed. Tonight was a show. Just truth hitting hard, I said. Richard's been insufferable, Marcus said. You walked in, silent, and he's the fool. That's power. I leaned against the armrest. Not power. Proof some don't need applause. Marcus grinned. That's why you won. My eyes drifted to the piano. Claudia wasn't happy after you left. I raised a brow. She's married. Not my concern. True, he said, but tonight was her stage to show she'd won. She got the opposite. The thought settled, a final note. Marcus stood. Got Richard's stories to make you laugh. I chuckled. Enough damage. At the door, he smirked. That I'll think about it. He's sweating. I laughed as he faded into the dark. No ghosts lingered, no stories hung. Just me, my music, my terms. Dawn of clarity. Morning broke, weightless. Sunlight spilled through my loft, gilding the piano's curves. It had carried me, from a battered keyboard to a life beyond dreams. My phone buzzed. Marcus. Seen the news? He asked, gleeful. Trouble. I teased, leaning against the window, the city waking below. The wedding's trending, he laughed. Check it. I opened an app. CEO's wedding, a night of ruin. Posts dissected it. Richard's hubris, my $700 million strike, a viral clip captioned, Silent Flex Mastery. Comment stung. She fumbled hard. I chuckled, sipping coffee. Claudia would hate this, her image cracked. My phone buzzed, Claudia. I paused, then answered. Seen the news? She asked tight. Expected it, I said. Her laugh was hollow. Not how I planned it. How do you plan it? I asked. She faltered. Not this. I didn't invite you to shame you. I scoffed. Then why'd Richard gut me publicly? Silence. He didn't know you, she admitted. I laughed. Obvious. A beat. I thought you'd tell me you'd become this. I exhaled. You never ask. She sighed. I know. Regret. For leaving. For doubting. For waking too late. No words left, I said. I'm done. She breathed slow. Figured. Hope you're happy, she said bare. I am, I said true. I hung up. It was over. No loose ends. Just my life, my music, mine. The last note. The silence was clean. A song's final chord, perfectly struck. I stood, coffee cool, the truth simple. It was done. Claudia and I had crossed paths one last time, our worlds colliding, then parting forever. I'd had the last word, not in words, but in life's quiet math. I needed no revenge, no applause. I had me. I sat at the piano, fingers grazing keys. A melody bloomed, Not for her. For me, a vow I'd always been enough. A notification pinged. Marcus's video. Richard raging, Claudia drained. Why'd you invite him? She rubbed her temple. Not like this. You made me a fool. Marcus's voice sly. You just learned you're not her biggest star tonight. I laughed. Texting morning maid. He replied, Richard bolted last night. Classy. I typed perfect. Weeks passed, the scandal fading. Marcus shared scraps. Richard's pride bruised. Claudia's poise strained. I didn't care. Paris called, my next concert. Packing, I found an old notebook, songs, some for her. I smiled, closing it. Those were then. At the piano, I played a new piece of freedom, to live unregretted, to be enough. The notes soared, a promise. As the chord faded, I closed the lid, ready for the open road. The past was shut. The future was mine, alive. With music as my compass, I was home.